Let me tell you a love story, but not the kind you might expect. This isn't about fireworks, or destiny, or perfect timing. This is a story about a love that shows up disguised as chaos. As smoke rising in the morning, as sirens cutting through the quiet, as a danger so real you can feel its weight on your chest. You see, real love doesn't wait for the calm. It doesn't knock politely. It steps in when the city is alive with noise, when life is unpredictable, when every single choice feels like a massive risk. And in Senegal, Dakar, this city of tangled streets, restless waves, and endless sun love sometimes arrives on the very edge of a flame. This is the story of Ibrahima Diop, a fire captain, a man who lives by plans, by control. And this is the story of Naomi and Ndiaye, a paramedic, a woman who thrives on instinct, who improvises. Their paths crossed not by accident, but because a fire demanded they move together as one. Dakar had a way of waking slowly, almost reluctant to leave its dreams behind. Ibrahima preferred it that way. Calm, measured, predictable. But not today. Today, smoke was curling over the port of Dakar. A cargo ship had caught fire during unloading, and the harbor was pure chaos. Workers were screaming. Cranes loomed over the scene, swinging like giant, dangerous metal arms. Ibrahima didn't hesitate. He climbed into his fire truck, checking radios, coordinating teams with a steady voice. Naomi and Ndiaye arrived just moments later in her volunteer paramedic van, sirens wailing. Her hair was already stuck to her forehead. Adrenaline had beaten the morning calm. She didn't question why she was there, she just moved. For a split second, their eyes met at the edge of the flames, a spark of recognition, but there was no time for words. By the water's edge, Ibrahima spotted a worker trapped on a crane platform with smoke growing thicker around him. "Ahmed, rope ladder," he shouted. At the same time, Naomi grabbed an oxygen mask and sprinted forward. Together, they guided the terrified man down the swaying crane. The wind threatened to knock them off balance. The fire tried to push them back, but somehow they moved as one. When the man was finally safe, Naomi looked at Ibrahima, breathless. You never hesitate," he answered, his voice low. "I can't." She looked right back at him. "You can," she replied. "You just don't choose to." A week later, a different emergency. A fire broke out in a crowded market in the Medina district. Wooden stalls, cooking fires, kerosene lamps, the whole place was a trap. Ibrahima and his crew arrived first. Smoke choked the narrow alleys. Panicked, vendors shouted, trying to save their goods, their children, their chickens. Naomi arrived shortly after, first aid kit in hand. Through the thick haze, they spotted an old man trapped under a collapsed stall. Without a word, Ibrahima lifted the heavy beams, while Naomi steadied the man, guiding him out, soot-covered, but alive. But then, a gas cylinder exploded, sending them both tumbling to the ground. Instinctively, Ibrahima shielded Naomi with his own body. In the chaos, their hands touched. A spark of panic, and a spark of something else entirely. By the time the market was evacuated, they were exhausted but alive. Their hearts still racing and, not just from the fire. Then came the stormy night. Lightning struck a high-rise apartment building in Plateau. Flames shot out from balconies. Families were trapped on the upper floors. Naomi and Ibrahima scaled the building together. Rain pelted them as lightning lit up the terrified faces in the windows. "I'll take the left stairwell," Ibrahima shouted over the storm. "I've got the right," Naomi replied. But halfway up, the stairs collapsed. Debris fell all around them. Smoke swallowed everything. They finally met on the top floor, drenched, terrified, but completely determined. Together, they guided the families down fire ladders and makeshift ropes. Every slip could be the last. Every handhold was a silent promise. "I've got you." At the bottom, as the rain finally began to soften, Naomi let out a shaky laugh. You didn't plan for wet rescues, did you? Ibrahima allowed himself a rare smile. I planned for survival, he said. And I planned for chaos, she shot back. And somehow, in that moment, it felt like they were planning for each other, too. After weeks of rescues, of shared danger, Ibrahima and Naomi finally faced each other in a quiet moment. Not amid fire, not amid sirens, but under the soft, gentle glow of Dakar's city lights. I'm afraid, Ibrahima confessed, his voice barely a whisper. Of losing control, Naomi asked gently. No, he said, of losing you. Naomi's hand found his. I'm afraid to, she admitted. But I'm afraid of staying still long enough to really feel. They laughed quietly, the city's pulse finally fading into a calm rhythm around them. The fire, the storms, the danger, none of it mattered as much as the unshakable trust they had built in those moments of pure panic. Their story reaches its peak when a chemical plant on the outskirts of Dakar catches fire, threatening an entire neighborhood. This is their most dangerous call yet. Ibrahima coordinates the fire trucks, a symphony of organized response, while Naomi triages the injured, a dance of instinctive care. Children are trapped, workers are injured, and the flames roar higher than any building they've ever seen. They move through smoke-filled corridors together, each saving lives, each protecting the other. One misstep, one fall, could end everything. In the final desperate act, they find a family stuck behind a locked warehouse door. Ibrahima smashes the lock with an axe. Naomi guides the terrified children out into the night. Exhausted, covered in soot and sweat, they finally stand side by side as the last flame is extinguished. No words are needed. The danger has done what neither planning nor spontaneity could do alone. It has brought them together fully, fiercely, without any pretense. Weeks later, Senegal, Dakar is quiet again. The fires have been fought, lives have been saved, and the chaos has been averted. Ibrahima and Naomi walk along the Corniche, watching the sun set over the Atlantic Ocean. Their hands touch, then intertwine. Love should feel like courage, Ibrahima says, looking at the horizon. And like trust, Naomi adds, squeezing his hand. They smile. No grand promises are needed. They have survived fire, smoke, and danger, and in doing so, they discovered a love that grows strongest when life is at its most unpredictable. Because in Dakar, between the ash and the sparks, love began, not quietly, but boldly, in the heat of the moment, in the courage to step forward together. Not all love stories are quiet, and not all love arrives on a calm morning. Some arrive with sirens, smoke, and chaos. They force you to choose courage over comfort, action over hesitation, and connection over distance. The story of Ibrahima and Naomi teaches us that love isn't just about safety or perfect timing. It's about showing up, even when the flames are threatening to consume you. It's about trust, discipline, and daring to be vulnerable under pressure. Dakar is a city of unpredictability, but in its winding streets and glowing sunsets, two people found certainty in each other, a love forged in fire and tested in every storm. A love that grows strongest when life itself demands courage. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please consider liking the video and subscribing for more stories about the human spirit. Stay safe.